Hello guys, I've got a new video series here for you. This is going to be my, I'm not quite sure how many parts it's going to be, but it's definitely going to be more than 5. Throughout this video series, I'm going to be talking about RuneScape's history and a lot of the various different storylines. I will try and cover every single one of the storylines, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to get to all of them, as some of them don't really interest me, and some of them aren't very active in the forward movement of RuneScape's history. So before we get into this, I'd like to say that right now in the world of Gilnor that we are in, RuneScape, it is the 5th age, year 169. With said that, it has been the year 169 for 10 years this game's been out, and it hasn't progressed a single year. So let's get into this. In the very beginning, there was Guthix. That sounds a little Bible-ish. I don't know what you want to say. He found a blank plane that was left behind. There was no god there, and he called it Gilnor. That's another thing that a lot of people don't even realize, is that this world is called Gilnor. It's not called RuneScape. The actual world that we play in is Gilnor. So Guthix starts to shape Gilnor with the power of the Stone of Joss and create some wildlife. The Stone of Joss was left behind by Joss, the Elder God, which is another density, which kind of proves that there was gods before Guthix, and possibly a whole different story of warriors and whatnot. I'm not sure. I don't want to get too far into that. Before Guthix even stumbled across this land. And JOS is also an acronym that Jagex uses as Java Application Server, which indeed is a program used that gives the world of RuneScape life. So I think that might just be a kind of a ha-ha funny thing on their side. So where we're at right now is Guthix has made some wildlife, and he's kind of building this world. Sirin comes in. She's the elven god, also the god of crystals. She brings the elves with her. Also keep in mind that the Tazahar are native to this land. Guthix did not create those. They were already living here, and it's believed that the Tazahar are the only natives to Gilnor. They were still living in the Karamja jungle volcano, and that's where they originally lived, so they've just kind of been distant from the world progressing above them. They've just been doing their own little thing down there underground. After that, the elves begin to build their crystal city called Prifidicianus. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Don't rage at me if I'm not. That is a mouthful of words, and I can't honestly say I think I am pronouncing it right. But anyways, a little bit after they finish constructing their city, they build a thing called the Tower of Voice, which is where they're able to speak with Sirin. A little bit after that, Guthix opens up the World Gates, and he allows humans and other beings of life to come through. The humans were one of the first people to come through, and Guthix, first thing he says to the humans is, here's this land. Use it, don't abuse it, take care of it, this and that. And obviously with some of the quest lines that you progress through, such as While Guthix Sleeps and Ritual of the Mahajarat, you see kind of things are going downhill. And you can't really say where this is going, per se, but a lot of the other gods and more very powerful creatures are getting involved in the storyline. And it just really interests me to see where this goes. After that, he used the Stone of Joss to create magic, which he couldn't bestow within any beings himself, so he had to create these rune objects, which he scattered across the land, hence RuneScape. There's a lot of runes to be found. I think that's where the name RuneScape actually comes from. Although I'm not sure, don't quote me, I'm not a JMAT, I can't make any distinction areas like that, so do not get mad at me if I am wrong on any of this. And then after he created all the magical arts and this and that, scattered all the runes, this is about year 4000 now is where we stand approximately. Guthix is all out of power, he's very tired, goes asleep, and this marks the end of the first age. His slumber lasts for about 6,000 years, and he does not wake up till the very end of the third age. One thing that I'd like to discuss with you guys here is the World Gate. The World Gate is what pretty much all of the beings in today's RuneScape come from. The only ones that did not come from the World Gate is any of the gods, the elves, the Tazahar, and very few wildlife. I'm not sure which ones those would be, as it just says Guthix created a few wildlife creatures. So that's unsure. The World Gate closed around the Second Age, sometime in there. They're not sure who or why or what closed it, but it's firmly believed that during Zorus's betrayal or the start of the God War is what closed it off, the disruption in power or something like that. And it's believed that the portal that leads to the Kilowatt plane is a man-made world gate of some sort of speak. It's not very powerful, as Guthix was a god, had much power at his disposal, was able to create one that went into different dimensions, while this kilowatt planes portal only goes into the one different one, and it does make sense. It takes you into a different dimension where you find different beings of life. Um, Here I've got a little bit of a map for you. Before I show it to you, let me get another load of logs going because I got some useless footage in the background of me skilling. Right here is a map of the first age. First thing I'd like to point out is right here we have the Dragonkins. And it's even in Dimheim today. When you go there, you can see statues of the Dragonkins, which proves that they were there at some point, although I'm not. The tunnels weren't there at this point. They do control part of the wilderness. As of right here, the wilderness ends right along there. And then this part is Mortara. And then right here, this is Dragontooth Island, which is you get to go to in a quest during Ghost Ahoy. I do believe that is it. Don't quote me on that. I'm sorry if I'm wrong. Which is, I can't think of his name right now, but the guy who was working with Lucian during While Guthix Sleeps in the Ritual of the Mahajaret, he says that he notices powers from the Stone of Joss in the Mortarna area, which would make sense as the Dragonkins are tied to the Stone of Joss. They're cursed to guard it for the rest of their lives, and seeing that part of their domain was in the Mortara area makes sense. But for the most part, Guthix controls everything. Right down here is the World Gate, and this is the Void Outpost right here, which is kind of interesting because the gates there that allow those weird pest beings to come through is there. But apparently there's some kind of city, although it doesn't name it there. I'm not even quite sure where this map comes from. I found this on the RS Wiki. From there, I don't know where it comes from. And then we got Perfidenis, which is the crystal city that the Elvens made. Although I think there's a little bit more land right here, as in the world map. This is just cut off little bits here. I think Jagex will add this on later, as it's the same with this right here. It kind of gives it a nasty little bit of a look to it, if you ask me. Really suckish. But yes, as I said before, for the most part, Gilnor made everything. You do have the desert gods and the Fremnet gods. They come into play later. But the only two actual present godly beings right now is Serin and Guthix. They're the only two ones at work right now doing anything to manipulate the world. And I can't think of anything else that really has to do with the First Age. I think I covered just about all of it. The First Age doesn't have a whole lot we can discuss. It's a very short, mysterious age. All we know is Guthix created the land and opened up the World Gate. Also, it was the first little bits of him using the Stone of Joss. So with that, I will say stay tuned for part 2, and thanks for watching.